Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Colorway Wednesday. This week it's just me, and you may be able to hear I am a little sick. Luckily, we're not feeling as bad as we were this morning. Still pretty bad, but that's okay. But today we've got something very exciting. We will be doing a Crayola coloring sheet simply because I thought that was cute. So we are doing this sheet right here. Very cute. I know, it's a little snail. Now the thing is, I printed on a different type of paper this week. Typically I use like your run-of-the-mill printer paper. Today I actually used watercolor cardstock. So the difference with watercolor paper is the grain type. But that being said, you probably know what I'm painting with today. Today I'm painting with my little watercolor kit. I got this on TikTok Shop my sophomore year of college. This was my only purchase off TikTok Shop ever, I think, which I'm pretty proud of. But I was like, ooh, yeah, that looks cute. There's all these different colors. It came with a swatch sheet. So that's kind of nice. It's like coordinated, but only if you align the actual direction of the swatch sheet with the actual palettes. Because if you hold the swatch sheet upside down, then it's not right. But quite cute. Today will probably be a bit of a shorter episode, obviously. It is just me here, but hopefully you're going to have a good time in color and it will be super fun. I've also got typically I use a mason jar for my watercolors, but I couldn't find my mason jar in my apartment. So instead we've got, there we go. Great Value original vanilla low-fat yogurt, but it's just water. Thank goodness for recycling. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. The way solo episodes are going to work, because I'm going to do solo episodes on occasion. I love having guests. However, it does take some more time and coordination in order to have guests. And some weeks my schedule simply does not permit for that. For those of you who don't know, I live in Oklahoma. I'm not going to say where, but I live in Oklahoma. And if you've been tuned into the weather at all, it's been rough. We had another Monday off, which was very lovely. But we had Monday off. Actually, I should pre-spray my page. Fun fact, if you're watercoloring, pre-mist your page. Like, do it from afar. This is a hair mister technically, but it works really well for this. Do it from afar. It just gets it where the colors will spread a little better. I would say I learned that the hard way, but I also kind of think I watched a YouTube video on it. But anyhow, so it's been kind of like a snowpocalypse here in Oklahoma, which has been like kind of nice, honestly. Especially, like I said, I've been sick for a few days now. So it's kind of nice to be like, oh, well, oh no, I had to miss a day of school, but everyone else did too because we're not in class. But that's not the case. But yeah, so that's really fun. But because of that, it has been such a weird week. We had Monday off. And then we had classes Tuesday, but we had like a delayed start. So they didn't open campus until 10 a.m., which was very odd. But it's been a good time. Me and my friends, we're getting through it. We are getting through it. But goodness gracious. It's always during these live streams that my professors decide to start uploading stuff to Canvas, which, if you don't know what Canvas is, if you're going to take college, you will, probably. But Canvas is like, think of it like a social media platform, except not at all. And it's like just your teachers telling you things, no one else. That's what Canvas is. But yeah, it's been fine. I had to stay home from school today because I'm sick, like I said. Luckily, I was like, okay, I can still do Colorway Wednesday because it's from my apartment and not too high stress. In fact, that's the whole point of this is it's supposed to be the opposite of stress. Um, but we're making it work. Um, I started watching this show called Abbott Elementary. I'm a big fan of sitcoms. I don't know if you would call that a sitcom, but shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like I'm basic, but shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Parks and Recreation, I love shows like that. I know there's like a more specific term for that. Um, I think they're really fun, but it's been really nice because for some reason I thought Abbott Elementary was going to be like a lot more mature and like depressing, but it's really cute. I'm 8 episodes in, I think, and I cried at the last episode just because it was really cute and made me happy, which is one of the best feelings to feel, in my opinion. But not everyone feels that way, and that's okay. But so that was fun. What else have I been up to? Almost done with week 3 of the semester, which is quite exciting. That means I'm almost done. Not almost done. Whoa, getting ahead of myself. I was about to be like, oh yeah, I'm almost done with college. Whoa, girl. Whoa, girl. It's wishful thinking. Very much wishful thinking. But it's been a good semester so far. I'm exhausted, and I feel like this semester has been going so slow yet flying by so fast, which is both a blessing and a curse, as I'm sure anyone ever could tell you. But we stay cooking. I'm hoping that next week I'll be able to coordinate a guest for us. And then at some point, maybe, if I play my cards right, we'll get in-person guests. So rather than it's like a Zoom call that y'all are watching, it'll be an actual live there with you guest. Not you, me. Lovingly, you're not invited. Because it'll probably be in my apartment. And I'm not going to invite the internet to there. And that's okay. Oh, goodness gracious. I've been undergoing prep for nationals, which is very exciting. The next POA state pageant is not this next weekend, like the coming weekend, but it's the weekend after that. The Texas state pageant is happening, which is really exciting. I'm very sad because that means our Miss Texas is no longer going to be our Miss Texas, and I live, laugh, love her. She and I were line buddies at nationals, and she's so cool. Her name's Sarah Connor. If you don't know her, you should, honestly. I was about to be like, oh, you should check her out. No, you just should know her. But I know that today is very informal in comparison to some stuff. I know I look a little bit like a mess right now, but I was it's more authentic, and this is a self-care thing, so I'm not going to stress about how I look when the whole point is that this is taking care of me and my needs. So, 'tis fun though. I've never actually watercolored a coloring page. Every time I watercolor, I'm typically just painting something fully on my own without guidelines, you know what I mean? So that's really fun. But yeah, anyhow, so we're talking about POA. So the state pageants are kicking off, which is very exciting. I can't wait to see who's going to join us at nationals this year. it should be really fun. Honestly, I'm super stoked. Partially because I know I'm going to be graduated from college by the time the nationals rolls around, and that sounds really nice. I love college. I am so thankful for the opportunities I've gotten through it, but I'm a little tired. I'm a little tired. Grandma needs a break. But it's fine though. Um, we stay trucking, as I've been saying for some reason. But what I want to do at some point, sorry, this is like a hard shift in topic. What I want to have on this show someday is for us to have like a camera set up where you can actually like see what I'm doing. I just think that would be really cute and cool. And maybe like we wouldn't utilize that setting during like guest episodes because that would be kind of weird to be like, yeah, you're so cool. Like, let's talk about you. Also, guys, look at what I'm doing. Guys, I'm so important. But it just depends on how everything pans out. But I do have hope for this show. I think this is a very fun thing. I'm honestly really proud of myself because, quite frankly, I have busy class days on Wednesdays typically when I'm not sick. Um, and so I'm really proud of myself that I've been sticking to this. I know this is only not 3. This is only week 3 of it, but at the same time, it's week 3, and I've done it every single week. And it's not huge, but it's a little personal milestone thing, It's hey, I'm proud of myself for putting forth this extra effort. But yeah. If you haven't seen Abbott Elementary, I definitely recommend it so far. If you're a child, baby, don't watch it. I don't know. I haven't watched it enough to be this is very inappropriate. But it is quite fun. I love shows that are hey, let's contextualize a group of people that you wouldn't expect, right? I mean, that's what most shows like that are, right? The Office, Parks and Recreation, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, all sorts of shows like that are all very, oh, well, haha, yeah. I never would have expected them to hang out. And it's aw, that's cute. I love unexpected friendship. That's my favorite trope. I love it in books. I love it in shows. I just love it. Goodness gracious. I've been reading more this year. I say more. I've been slacking on reading lately. But I've actually been pretty good about reading every night before bed, which has been something I wanted to get better at this year. I'm not necessarily oh, you need to make New Year's resolutions kind of gal, but I set some goals for things I wanted to do this year, so to achieve this year. And I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far. I've been reading Anne of Green Gables, that whole series by Ellen Montgomery. Absolute classic. I liked them, the books. I liked the books a lot as a kid, but genuinely didn't remember much. I know that my family and I got through the first 5 books and then got kind of bored. Not the first 5, maybe the first 3. I don't know. There's a lot of books in that series, which if you've watched Netflix's Anne with an E or any adaptation, they're never that long. They never have half of that stuff. But the book's just been really cute because honestly, the first book, I think Anne as a character really affected my upbringing, which sounds crazy. But she's the little crazy haired girl who kind of just dreams big and is a bit of a handful sometimes and is great at getting herself into trouble. Not on purpose, but she still manages it. Um, 'Cause that was me as a kid. 1000%. Bless my mother and her heart for putting up with me as long as she has. It's not even like I try to get myself into trouble, obviously, because like, who really does most of the time? It's more along the lines of I just find myself in little situations. Like yesterday, like I mentioned, there's been a lot of snow and ice because the snow is melting. So, so with that being a occurrence, I suppose, um, campus was pretty bad. Um, wasn't like very plowed or anything like that. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm already pretty sick, but I'm going to go to class. Don't do that. But I was like, I'm going to go to class because I have to, because we only get 2 unexcused absences, yada, yada, yada. Also, I have like an important thing on campus today, so I got to do that. Great. So I did. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to park in this parking garage on campus because my mom told me to. And it was like, okay, it's paid, but it's like $2 an hour. That is not that bad because it was way closer. And I was like, oh, it'll be way safer, right? So I get my little ticket stub or however you call it to park there. And then I pull in and it's just like a foot of snow all over the top of the parking garage. I was like, oh, cool, sweet. But so I went to go park in a spot and then I realized that there probably were better spots to park in. So then I like start backing out and then my car starts freaking out. Like it was like, no, we are not doing this, girl. And I was like, oh. So yeah, I was stuck in the parking garage. That was really cool. Luckily, I like didn't actually need to leave right at that moment. And so whenever I went back a couple of hours later, it was actually perfectly fine because stuff had melted. But I definitely lucked out of that. But goodness, yeah. I hope everyone's been staying safe and warm, having a good time wherever they are. So I'm like trying not to get too locked in, but at the same time, I'm painting with a blue right now. And I love me some pretty blue. So I'm getting very distracted because I'm like, oh, that's a really pretty shade. But you know, it is what it is. Goodness gracious. I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. I'm like worried I'm going to manage to lose my voice from talking so much on the stream today. It's okay. It's okay. The sacrifices we choose to make. I put myself in this position, and that's what matters. But I should get like ambient royalty free music to go in the background of these. So then it's not like constantly like, oh, I should be talking. But then it's also not like people are watching and they're like, oh my gosh, she just keeps talking. You know? That's really funny to imagine someone listening to this just to be like, oh my gosh, stop talking. That's really funny. It's okay. I say it's okay as if I just said something like really sad. Like, what? Girl. I love a good old like vocal reset. For me, my vocal reset that I typically use is "It's okay." As I'm sure you could tell. But it's like, I didn't even say anything sad. Why am I telling people things are okay? Whatever, girl. Whatever you want, Miss Ma'am. For those of you who don't know, I work with a wedding planning company, and the new issue of Wed Society Oklahoma came out last week? I think so. Last Friday, I think, which is quite exciting. Essentially, if you don't know what Wed Society is, because I didn't either until I worked in the industry, because I'm not married and I haven't planned my own wedding or anything like that. I haven't planned a wedding, period. I help with the execution of weddings. Um, but with that being said, it's it's really cute. You get to see like a bunch of pictures from all these different, like very different wedding days. And so it's just really cool seeing like all of the individuality and like creativity that goes into a bunch of these wedding days. And like, don't get me wrong, these are like the fancy weddings too. They're like the higher end ones with lots of bells and whistles. Typically have like something super extra. One of my favorite quote unquote extra things that people will have at weddings that I've worked is live cellists. I think it's so cool. It's not even like a novel idea. Like it gets done in movies. Like I've seen things that are much more like, whoa, I never would have thought of that. But for some reason, the cellists, man, and part of it is probably because every single cellist I've worked with has been nothing but incredible. Um, which I mean, granted, most of the people I work with are nothing but incredible. But like, goodness gracious, dude, I love them. They're so fun. Or like live saxophones. I worked a wedding once where they hired a DJ, pretty standard. They hired a DJ and then hired a live saxophonist, sax player, whatever you want to call it. I should know that. I literally had a friend in middle school who played the saxophone. I should know if saxophonist is the correct term, but I digress. Um, but yeah, no, it's just so silly. But it was so cool, especially because like it would be like the party was going, people are dancing, they're having a great time, they're celebrating their friends. And then there's this guy with a saxophone tearing it down, like going on the dance floor, hyping people up, playing the saxophone. Oh my gosh, he was so cool, dude. Um, no, I love working weddings, and so whenever like the new issue of Wed Society comes out, I'm like, ooh, let's see what fun things there are. I haven't looked through the entirety of this year's magazine. Um, I looked through all of last year's, obviously. My internship was very kind and gave me a copy just because they were like, "Oh, that's interesting to you. Here you go." I was like, "Yay, thank you." But quite fun. I often get asked like, "Oh, what are your aspirations?" Like, because for anyone who doesn't know, I'm getting a degree in acting. So people often ask me what my aspirations are, but right now I'm kind of in a weird like, since I'm about to graduate, about to, still have 5 weeks left. No, not 5 weeks. Goodness gracious, 13 weeks. Wow. Um, oof. But with that time I have left, um, wow, I got so thrown off by that I like forgot what I was saying. I remember what I was saying now, but like goodness. Anywho, so with graduation coming up soon, it kind of feels like a penultimate, oh, I need to make a decision. I need to know what I'm doing. Um, which like I guess is true to a certain degree. I don't think it's like a you have to figure it out right now, otherwise life is gonna be miserable, which is kind of the way my brain tends to work, but I think it'll all end up being a-okay, but I don't know. I'm excited. I like I said, I'm, like, at a crossroads where it's like, I love performing and I love sharing art with the world through that way, but genuinely working in wedding planning and that industry is so fulfilling. I love it so much. I genuinely would not trade it for the world. So it's kinda like a, whew, because as much as I would love to be like, "Ah, I'll just do both," um, there is kind of the, like, caveat, right, of, okay, well, in theater, if I were to be, like, booked in a play, right, um, those perform on weekends and rehearse every single evening, whereas if I worked full-time for where I work currently, as great as that would be, I would also still be at the weird crossroads of, okay, well, I work in the office every morning and afternoon and then go to rehearsal. And then I'm supposed to work weddings on the weekends. But what if I have a show that weekend? Great. Now someone else has to take my job. And like I have to find a replacement each time, which obviously wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I'm like, I just feel like that would be so sucky, especially like if I wanted to be a wedding planner. It's like I can't do that. Um, so, it is what it is. And it's a bridge we'll cross when we get there. But ultimately, what I'm trying to approach the new year with, new year, and we're almost done with the first month. Um, but what I'm trying to approach the year with is kind of like focusing on personal growth in the form of I don't need to have a perfect plan for everything. I just need to trust that I will be put where I am meant to be. Um, which for me is a little difficult because I'm very much a, okay, I'll just like figure it out and do it myself and make everything work out and blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't really work. Oh, goodness. I just went so out of lines right now. That's okay. That's part of the creativity, is going outside the lines and thinking outside the box. You know how it be. But yeah, I don't know why I decided to watercolor tonight. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. We're already 30 minutes in, which is very exciting, but I genuinely was like planning on only being live for 30 minutes, um, which I probably will wrap up somewhat soon, just 'cause. Ooh, voice crack. That was incredible. I love a good, well-timed voice crack. But yeah, let's see, what else can we talk about that's like POA related? I wanna talk a little more on pageantry. Um, Mainly just because that's like a fun little hyperfixation for me. But I'm so excited for nationals. I'm especially like with us like entering like the really busy state season. I'm like, dude, we're about to figure out like so many of the people that are going to be with us at nationals, which is super exciting. Um, so I got to refresh the water in my palette real quick. But super exciting to like think about like all the like new girls that may join. New meaning like new to this year, not new to the system entirely. I mean, there may be more new girls. That'd be fantastic. I mean, I was a new girl last year, so I have nothing wrong with that. That would be so cool. But I am just so stoked to get to see like who all's coming back and like just what the activities are going to be, what the theme's going to be. Like, I feel like every year from what I've heard, especially about POA, and I'm sure this is true of other pageant systems, but POA is my main gal, you know what I mean? Um, but like I feel like every year they try to find some way to throw a slight curveball. So if you've been competing with their system for a while, you don't go, okay, well, it's the same thing every year. Just hope I get scored differently, right? Um, so I'm very curious to see what that will be this year. I know we have our first Tennessee state pageant this year, which is super exciting. One of our national queens from last year is the director for it, um, which love her. She's going to be so good. Her and her mama, um, just some of the most incredible women you will ever meet. But quite fun. But yeah, I'm really bummed because I want to make it to more of the state pageants. But I just like, it's not necessarily like oh, I just don't have any time. It's more of a, whew, travel may be rough. Because I personally have a class at 8:30 in the morning on Mondays. And 8:30 isn't that early, I'm aware. I struggle with sleeping stuff sometimes. So sometimes it's like, oh, that's so early. Just because that's a lot for me, which is okay. But, and like most of the pageants take place fully on Sundays. So I would be driving home immediately after, have to get settled back in. Um, and so it's just like okay, maybe next year. Um, but it's going to be fun regardless. Like I said, Texas is coming up. Um, since I'm from Oklahoma, I always like, I did this last year too, where I was like, yeah, Texas will be super easy to go to. It's 8 hours away. So fair enough. Oh goodness. I always forget, even though I grew up with so much family in Texas, I always forget how big it is. So whenever I first saw that, I remember being like, what? How is it that far away? And my mother, who is from Texas, was like, girl, I know you did not just ask that. She didn't actually say that. I think the day she looks at me and sassily says, girl, I've messed up big time. She is coping and trying not to scream at me. But I know there's that one. I believe, I'm trying to think through it. I have a little Google Calendar that has all the state pageants. Because even though I can't be there in person, I like to try to watch the live streams just to like kind of support as much as I can from home. Um, so that's fun and cutesy. But let's see. Let's check, shall we? Because I feel like there's one right at the beginning of February, in the middle. Oh, no, never mind. I was be like, one in the beginning, one in the end, and one in the middle. No, there's one every single weekend. But yeah, so February is packed because it's Texas one weekend. The next weekend immediately following is Missouri Heartland. And then the next one after that is Iowa Northern States. And then after that is Tennessee doing their first ever pageant, which is going to go crazy in the best way. But yeah, so that's quite exciting. And then March, I know Kansas is towards the end because I've been looking at going to that one, but I think with school obligations, I can't. It makes me so sad. I love my Kansas girly pop. Brianna James is one of the most incredible people on this planet, and I will die on this hill. Uh, but I know there's that one. There's Minnesota Great Lakes, which maybe we'll see. But that one's super exciting. My friend Mariana is giving up her title and hopefully crowning a successor. And so we get another girly pop in the Miss Division, which would rock. But also it's okay if we don't, but also it would rock if we did. Regardless, I'm so stoked. But let's see, I'm about to put like a little finishing touch, and then I'm probably gonna call it a night on stream, just so that I'm not consistently like trying to think about what to talk about. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's just not the best quality for y'all, I'm sure. Especially since I don't have a guest this week. But I'm hoping I'm going to reach out to one of the applicants, see if she'd be interested in joining us next week. If not, I've got a couple of friends here in the town I live in that I think honestly may be interested, / I may be able to coerce if I like tell them I'll buy them dinner. But you know, we shall see. Goodness gracious. My laptop fell asleep. I was like, oh no, did it just end the stream? Oh no. It would not be a Colorway Wednesday without me having some sort of really embarrassing technical difficulty. As you may have noticed, if you follow the series closely, the first week of Colorway Wednesday, I was gonna live stream on Instagram, found out I couldn't do that, and so then I was like, oh goodness gracious, and I like recorded the Colorway Wednesday so many times and it just was not working, and so eventually I just kind of gave up. Did like a 6-minute long one where I was essentially like, yeah, look at this thing I painted, guys. Or not painted, colored. Look at this thing I colored already. My bad. I did have the camera set up because I was streaming from my phone or filming from my phone. I had the camera set up in a way where you could see what I was doing a little bit more, which, like I said, I do really want to find a way to do that later on, but we'll wait. We shall wait. But for now, I am quite happy with how this cute little series is going. Because genuinely, by this point, this is so therapeutic. This is like cathartic. I preach a lot about the importance of mental health and like taking care of yourself, which is obviously something I'm passionate about. However, I think I'm really bad about doing the things I preach. I will tell my friends till the day I die about how incredible they are and they should never doubt themselves. And then I am the most chronic self-doubter that there is. And that's okay. But you know, it's a little, what's the word? Not redundant. Double standard. Like, it's a double standard. I can't think of the word I would use for that, but you know what I mean. Oh, this is so cute. I need to watercolor more often. I love this. I'm so bad about whenever I'm watercoloring, I tend to go, yes, blues and greens and like maybe some other colors. So I'm trying to like branch out, but I also picked I picked a color that's or not a color, a coloring page that's very good for blues and greens. Uh, it's fun though. It is fun. I'm so happy right now. This is what I needed. I've been sitting at home all day, haven't talked to anyone in person. Obviously, I've been like texting people and emailing professors and all that jazz. But there's just something so special about actually like sitting there and taking the time to just kind of live life and create just to create. Which again, something I talk all the time about, and I like learn time and time again how powerful that experience is, and then I just don't do it. So honestly, Colorway Wednesday is just an excuse for me to get to color and feel like I'm being productive. Because that's part of my problem is I get in my head and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not being productive. I could be doing homework or studying or this and this, practicing monologues, like practicing my formal wear walk, getting ready for nationals. When in reality, as important as practice in all aspects of life, especially for my field of choice, are, it's also super important to remember to take a breather, man. Take a chill pill. Gosh, girl, chill out. Because I can be bad about that. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, we all have our little things that we know we need to improve on, and we're going to. But we just have to be patient and gentle with ourselves. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's cute. That's cute. I keep being like, oh, I'm going to finish this one thing and then I'm going to end the live stream. But then I keep seeing other little details. I know that typically I show you guys little like updates as the the live stream progresses. But I don't think I am going to tonight simply because since this is a watercolor, I don't want to mess up anything. Like colors will start running. It shouldn't. I haven't layered anything on that thick, but I still want to be careful. There we go. I was about to use another blue. I was like, girl, there's too much blue on this already. But almost done, I promise. But should not be humming right now. That is not good for me. I mean, humming is good for you, but humming when your voice is a little rough around the edges is not the wisest thing to do. So maybe don't do that. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I've said it before. I'll probably say it again. I honestly, whenever it comes to like solo streams, because I don't want to like always have a guest, because like I said, that'll just be a lot to coordinate, make sure that everyone like maybe once I've streamlined the system a little bit more, I'll be able to do guests like super frequently. Maybe not every week, but still more frequently. But I think for the time being, like the first several minutes of every live stream is me posting the live stream link, being like, we're live, come join us. So I don't think we're gonna do that. Hopefully by that point we'll have found some way to fix that. But we'll see. At the end of the day, part of what's really fun about like stuff like this, meaning like platform endeavors that involve social media and just going a little bit more out there, is genuinely just problem solving and having a regimen. It is really fun. Oh my gosh. I think I'm done. Um, I was gonna, like, paint all over it because it's, like, in a little glass bottle, but I think if I do that, I need to wait for it to dry at least for a day, um, and I'm not gonna live stream that entire wait. So, I'm going to start cleaning up while the painting dries. Um, but yeah, super fun stuff, and I may switch it to where I, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. That's okay. That is okay. And look, that's us being kinder to ourselves. Well, I hope you've had a great time if you've been, like, listening to this and coloring or just doing whatever it is that you're doing. Here is my finished product. I'm quite happy with it. I think it turned out really cute. The ladybug looks a little out of place color palette wise, but I think that's what adds to it because it's an actual ladybug. But I hope you guys had fun. If you color along, please feel free to tag me if you post on your story or make an actual post. Um, but with that being said, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.